You will have reports from our current issues and where we stand. Also tonight, we kick off our investment drive celebration. Through this drive, everyone has the opportunity to own part of this Justice Ministry network. We believe in building our own power. We also believe in supporting our network. I believe in the work of C.L.O.U.T. I believe that we should be corporate, sponsor-free, and to that extent, I'm doing my part in making C.L.O.U.T. self-sufficient. This year, I will be investing $300 in the work of C.L.O.U.T.
We're going to start you off with a word of prayer. I want to preface it by reminding you that investment time in biblical terms is sowing time. And when the sower goes forth to sow, he has the blessings and she has the blessings of God upon her. And when you sow for God, the blessings work both ways, for somebody else and for you. And so we're going to direct our request to him who blesses the sower and the investor for such a time as this. Let us pray. Gracious Father, we ask your presence as we deliberate on where we've come from and where we are going to. We come that you might bless us, and in blessing us, make us a blessing to somebody else. We start out as an example for others. This year I will contribute $200 to this program as a seed to make things better than our family. Bless us, investor, each sower of the seed. For Christ's sake and for the sake of the Louisville community, do we pray. And all the saints said together, Amen.
Good evening. Well, got balloons right in front of me. For our vision statement tonight, which will lead into a description of our purpose and why we're here at all, I wanted to look at our mission statement a little bit more closely and talk about what it means, what our mission statement means to us. So that mission, as many of you know, is that C.L.O.U.T. builds the power of religious congregations to solve community problems by holding systems accountable. That's our mission statement. Our mission statement tells us that ultimately we want to solve community problems. And I suspect everyone here tonight very much wants to solve the community problems that make life difficult for us, for people in our congregations, and for all God's people in the city of Louisville. So why isn't our mission statement simply C.L.O.U.T. solves community problems? Why do we have that other stuff about holding systems accountable and about power? Because if you really want to solve a problem, you simply must face up to what is required to actually do so. We want to solve community problems, which are by definition systemic problems, since they affect a whole community of people. And solving systemic problems means holding systems accountable for change. And we all know that holding systems accountable requires power. We simply cannot solve problems. We cannot bring God's justice into the world if we do not have power. You know, in Louisville, a lot these days, you hear a lot about compassion. Compassion is very important, of course. Marcus Warner, who's one prominent contemporary religious scholar that I greatly admire, he goes so far as to say that compassion is the central quality of God. I think when most of us hear the word compassion, we don't necessarily think about power or holding systems accountable. We tend to have a more warm and fuzzy feeling about compassion that we don't necessarily have about power and accountability. But listen to this from the book Compassion by, have you seen this book? I meant to bring it by Henry Nguyen and a few other people. It's a really popular book that a lot of people are familiar with. Really influential recent book on compassion. The authors of this book go so far as to argue that when people do not come together in community to build power, then those people are incapable of being compassionate. And the authors mean this literally. They argue that when we are exposed to human suffering, on the one hand, but on the other hand, when we simultaneously experience ourselves as powerless to do anything about that suffering that we experience, then we become numb and angry when confronted with suffering. Here's what they say in a direct quote. Numbness and anger are the reactions of the person who says, when I can't do anything about it anyhow, why do you bother me with it? Confronted with human pain and at the same time reminded of our powerlessness, we feel offended to the very core of our being and fall back on our defenses of numbness and anger. End quote. Many of you have no doubt also seen the quote from Martin Luther King Jr. that states, among other things, quote, love without power is sentimental and anemic. Think about that. Love without power is sentimental and anemic. Like all prophets, Dr. King challenges us in a way that is deeply unsettling. In effect, what Dr. King is saying is that if we don't build power, he doesn't care how much you may think you love other people, you don't. Without power, you love in a sentimental and anemic way, according to Dr. King. Now, as someone trying to be a Christian, I like to think I love my neighbor as myself, as I'm commanded to do. For instance, I like to think I love my neighbor who's struggling to keep a roof over their children's heads and put food on the table, but can't do it because there is very little affordable housing in Louisville. But how do I really love this neighbor? I can tell them I love them, but that's just sentiment, according to Dr. King. And for King, that doesn't measure up to real love. I can give my neighbor a few bucks to help them buy a meal or pay a bill, but that'll only help for a day or two at most. That's anemic love, according to Dr. King. And for King, that doesn't measure up to real love. For us to really love our tens of thousands of neighbors in Louisville who can't afford a home, we have to make a systemic change so there are homes people can afford. And to make systemic change, we must build power. Here's something else Dr. King wrote in a book appropriately called Strength to Love. Quote, the church must be the guide and the critic of the state, and never its tool. If the church does not recapture its prophetic zeal, it will become an irrelevant social club. Excuse me, end quote. As representatives of the church, we are called to be the conscience of our public officials, to be the critic of our public officials, as King puts it. The only way we can be an effective, critical conscience to our public officials is by making the prophetic voice of the church as powerful as it can be so that it cannot be ignored. So we're here tonight to celebrate the hard work we've done to build power in our justice ministry networks. But we're also here tonight to take a very important step to grow our power by investing in our organization. We've built a great deal of power over the years, but do you think we built enough power? No, not even close. So when we're in our caucuses tonight making our financial commitments, remember that each one of us is investing in ourselves, essentially. We're investing in our ability to live out our biblical values, to love, to be compassionate, and most importantly, to do justice. And I'll call upon Bev Duncan from Jeff Street, Baptist Community University. St. Francis, that's what you're supposed to do when I get up there.
What a wonderful way to celebrate our victories this year with that delicious meal, wasn't it great? Some of our victories this year may seem small, but some of them have been huge. And you know, if you've worked on one of the issue committees and you know how hard we work to get some of those small victories, I think they're all huge. So tonight, we're going to celebrate, let's celebrate the hard work that we've done to make justice roll down like waters on the city of Louisville, on our city, but more importantly, on God's city. Our biggest victory this year was getting Jefferson County Public Schools to implement a comprehensive plan to address bullying. As you may remember, Superintendent Harkins committed to this at our action last year, and the plan was put into place at the beginning of the school year last fall, thanks to our hard work. This is the first time that Jefferson County Public Schools has ever had a bullying plan, and it includes a new tracking and reporting system for teachers and parents, mandatory training for all school personnel, and how to deal effectively with the bully and with those who are bullied. It includes copies of training guides that have been placed in elementary, middle, and high schools, and are also available online for staff and parents so they can learn not only how to help those who bully, but how to help the victims of bullying, and even how to help bystanders who witness bullying. And finally, the plan includes a district-wide committee from all Jefferson County Public School departments that meets regularly to develop a systemic approach to preventing bullying. And we did this, C.L.O.U.T, so let's congratulate ourselves. Using restorative practices rather than the current zero-tolerance approaches that are not working. Because we are not okay with over 30% of our children not graduating from high school, are we, C.L.O.U.T? No! And in our work to address the affordable housing crisis in our city, we have gained more and more support from members of Metro Council to solve this crisis by funding the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. We are waiting and should hear any day now from the Kentucky Attorney General's opinion about the legality of the funding source. But because of our powerful turnout at this year's VMI action, we won new commitments from 2 Metro Council members that were previously undecided. Although we had met with them in the past, and other groups had met with them, they had never given a clear-cut yes until our VMI Action Assembly. So way to go, C.L.O.U.T. And in our work with predatory payday loans, we have gained more support from all the major faith-based groups across the state and have a very diverse coalition working together to solve this crisis. We have also gained bipartisan support in the state legislature to put into place some reasonable regulations on this industry. So we are hopeful for a successful bill in the next legislative session. And let's celebrate our newest work to give people with a criminal record a fair chance to become self-supporting and to support their families by getting a job. Because of our hard work, C.L.O.U.T, Metro Council members and County Attorney Mike O'Connell committed to support a new approach to hiring people with a criminal record, using national best practices that ban the box on initial job applications. This would allow our citizens that have made mistakes and the opportunity to show their skills and motivation to be good employees. Because everyone deserves a second chance, don't they, C.L.O.U.T? So much to be proud of. So I want you to join me in the C.L.O.U.T cheer. What have we got? We got C.L.O.U.T. Let's do it again. What have we got? We got C.L.O.U.T. And because I want to see the Affordable Housing Trust Fund become a reality in our city, I'm investing $500 in the work of C.L.O.U.T. this year.
Now we'll have Mary go back, come forward, and recognition.
All right, one of the most important things that we are doing here tonight is celebrating the fact that our congregations are making significant progress towards claiming justice work as being central to our identities as communities of faith. How do I know this is true, especially when that was such a long sentence? I know it is because we had 1,166 people out for the Nehemiah Action. Being the largest gathering of citizens to address community problems in the city of Louisville this year. To keep making justice ministry central to our congregations is each of you. As members of the Justice Ministry networks in your congregation, you are doing the very basic work of talking with people and getting them out to the Nehemiah Action Assembly. All of the great preaching and teaching in the world can only go so far. Sorry, Betty Dearwester. It is the very basic personal conversations that really take this work to the next level. Isn't that right, C.L.O.U.T?
This year, we have a new award for Justice Ministry Network members that met their commitment of turning out 3 or more people to the Great Nehemiah Action Assembly. And we'll use it continuously throughout the upcoming year at each of our annual assemblies. So please stand and be recognized if you brought at least 3 people with you to this year's Nehemiah Action. Did you bring 3 people? Stand up. The names are listed in your program. Hopefully we didn't overlook anybody. Yeah, let's hear it. If we have an oversight in the program, please let us know. We'll correct it.
As a token of recognition for your hard work and dedication, we would like to present each of you with a Justice Ministry Network member lanyard that is your neighborhood and that you can wear proudly to each of our events throughout the year. These also serve as name tags so we can continue to get to know one another at our events. Let's give these folks a hand. As we go forward as an organization, from time to time, we will have special pins or other items for levels of achievement or for special recognitions that you will be
Ministry team members. Team members, will you please stand? Team members, Alicia, stand. There you go. That's it, girl. All right. Your names are also listed in the program again. Forgive us if we made an error. Let us know and we will correct it. Team members. All right. Let's give them a yeehaw. Justice Ministry Network members are the foundation of our work to live up to God's requirement to do justice. And as we grow our networks, our ability to win our more comprehensive solutions to problems of injustice will grow as well. That's right. So team guys, you don't have to sit down yet. In recognition of your work, we would like to present to each of you, so team members, you better stand up. Each of you with a team member pin you can wear proudly on your lanyard. All right, team member pin, okay? Stand up so you get the first of your many pins out. Let's give these team members a applause.
To the C.L.O.U.T Action Assembly. The inspiration for this vision comes from the Gospel of Matthew. In chapter 23, verse 23 and 4, Jesus lays out the three weightier matters of law. What are those? Yes, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. As congregations, we do a good job of practicing mercy and faith. In fact, we come together as congregations for faithfulness ministry 52 times a year at least for worship, turning out large numbers of people for that every week. So it is our collective vision to come together as a whole congregation, turning out that same number just once a year for the justice ministry, for justice at the Nehemiah Action.
There are three strides in turning out their average worship attendance for justice this year. First, we would like to recognize two congregations that turned out over 50% of their average worship attendance. Please stand up, Jeff Street Baptist Community and Liberty. Community of Liberty turned out 69% of their average worship attendance. And in their very first year, Third Lutheran Church turned out 72% of their average worship attendance. Way to go! Let's give it up. And next we want to celebrate one congregation that turned out the highest percentage of their average worship attendance to the action this year. Little drum roll here. Little roll drum there a little bit. This year, the award for the highest percentage of their average worship attendance, over 100% of their average worship attendance to be exact, is Westwood Presbyterian Church. Ministry Network members to bring 3 or more people to the Nehemiah Action Assembly. The award goes to St. Francis Assisi Catholic Church and Catholic County. Because they have been building a strong justice ministry network. Now, for the largest increase in turnout, the winner is St. Pius X Catholic Church! These folks had a 170% increase. 170% increase from last year, going from 69 to 87.
For this year, 2013. But we need to recognize those congregations that did exceptionally well in the investment drive in 2012. The largest amount of investments raised was a tie, going to Catholic Charities and St. Pius X Catholic Church. The largest members over the previous year was, what? My eyes are popping out of my head. St. Edward Catholic Church. And guess what? An honorable mention also goes to St. William's Catholic Church with 63% increase over the year before. And we want to acknowledge all our corporate spokespersons who together raised over $78,000 for 27 corporations last year by engaging business leaders in this work. Please, if you were a corporate spokesperson and gave it your time, please stand up and let's give them a hand.
All right, this is about the end of all this fighting games. We conclude our awards, and we would like to present a special gift of recognition to an outstanding leader that truly goes above and beyond this organization, for this organization. This person puts in countless hours of time in issue work, board and committee work, does the windows, building the strongest justice ministry network in the organization. Chris Cobb of St. Francis Assistant Catholic Church. Would you please stand? Here, this is a small token of our appreciation to you for your leadership moment. We hope that you may use this gift of pride and may it always help to keep C.L.O.U.T in the front of your mind, as if we have even helped them in that. And now we will see this great token. All right, the compliment.
We would also like to recognize two of our hardworking leaders that can always be counted on for their dedication, loyalty, and dependability. These two people are always on call, so to speak, ready to respond on a moment's notice, showing up for every event and filling in the gap whenever it's needed, whether it's a research meeting, corporate meetings, meetings with officials, etc., etc., etc. We thought of calling it the Minuteman Award, but one is a man and one is a woman, so we're just calling it the Isaiah Award. And the certificate says, "Here am I, send me," Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8, "for faithful service in the ministry of justice, for always being willing to step up, fill in, and go beyond." This award this year goes to Jimmy Mills. Okay, and the woman that we're also giving this award, Isaiah Award to, is none other than C.L.O.U.T of Westwood Presbyterian Church, and accepting that award.
It took a lot of hard work by you guys, the Justice Ministry Network members, to get our congregations together at the Nehemiah Action. Because of your work, we have been able to successfully address many issues. As you know, getting the commitment from the officials is just part of the work. We still continue to engage the powers of evil, ban blocks, and expunge
the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, payday lending regulations, restorative practices in our schools, to hold them accountable to the commitments that they made and to the commitments that some of them still need to make.
And over the coming year, our community of faith within C.L.O.U.T will be growing even stronger as we embrace more congregations in the ministry of justice in order to reach our BHAG, that stands for our big, hairy, audacious goal of 5,000 people in 2015. But each of you have to play a part and continue to do your critical role in achieving that goal of 5,000. You are, brick by brick, person by person, building the power of the organization so that together we can create the city of God right here in Louisville. Can I have an amen? All right, because of this, my husband and I, John Dovack and Mary Dovack, are this year investing, because of the uniqueness of this organization and because of each of you, we want to invest $400 in the work of C.L.O.U.T this year.
And because I could not do this kind of thing without you all, and we all could not do it without the group and this great organization, I'm investing $400 in the work of C.L.O.U.T.
Okay, now is time for a little bit of fun for you. On your table, you're going to find an envelope that says secret something or other. Top secret. Do not open it yet. But this is going to be a game for us of which we have incredible prizes and you don't want to go home without. Now, one person at each table needs to be the recorder for this particular crossword puzzle of C.L.O.U.T. One person. Everybody can contribute to the answers, okay? There are pencils on the table and a cup. And you're going to have, this is time. Do not open anything until I tell you to go. It's a cooperative puzzle. Remember, one person is recording. The first table to finish the puzzle is going to be the winner that has the most answers correct. We will read the answers after time is up. Okay? Anything else? Okay. On your mark, get set, go.
give rain checks on the way. All right, watch it. Here it comes. One down. Justice Ministry Networks across. Committed to attend. How many? What is it? 4 annual cloud meetings. You can shout it out when I get to it. One of the 7 Ds used by officials to make us wait. Delay. Our new 2013 cloud issue campaign wants the city to bandbox. New 2012 cloud member congregation Greater Good Hope Baptist. New 2012 cloud member congregation Joshua Tabernacle Baptist. Our source of power, organized people. Citywide elected officials that made commitments at the 2013 Nehemiah Action Assembly. O'Connell. The new 2012 cloud member congregation, program cloud took action on to enroll 60,000 children. K-Chip.
In our election process. We should be educated about the candidates we're voting for, and we should be ready to hold them accountable. We also need to be ready to take an active role in our government. We could run for office, we can campaign for certain candidates, or work for public groups such as C.L.O.U.T. This is how I choose to be a responsible citizen. I've found that my 8th graders are very interested in our community, and these young people and others in our community are our future. I think to get them more involved in C.L.O.U.T's vision initiative is a win-win situation for us all. Several people have asked me how I got 63 of my 8th grade students and some of their parents to show up at a Nehemiah Action Assembly on a weeknight. I have to be very honest in my response and answer I just asked. I have my 8th graders on board with my heart in C.L.O.U.T. from the very beginning of the school year. They are my largest house meeting. We talk about things they see as problems in our society. I also talk to them about what happens at our problem awareness meeting in St. Pius in the fall. I require all my students to complete 12 community service hours a year. As a total, that would be about 800 service hours. My students get so involved in the community that last year, the 72 total 8th graders I have completed 3,580 community service hours. So my students that showed up to Nehemiah know what our community needs. They have a very large voice and appreciated the fact they felt like they were heard and seen. C.L.O.U.T. looks out not just for teens, but for all of us in our community. It looks out for what is just and right for all citizens, from our infants to our elderly. We have a responsibility to hold our elected officials accountable for their actions and promises. In order to have a true representative democracy, all citizens need to be informed and politically active in any way we can. As a single mother of 4, I am very busy, and my schedule is at times overwhelming to say the least. The way I spend my extra time is my choice, and I choose to invest a lot of it in C.L.O.U.T. I choose to invest my talents in C.L.O.U.T. by involving my middle school students and other members of my community, as well as parents. I will invest in my treasure this year as well in C.L.O.U.T. My extra funds as a mother of 4 to a college are limited, but I see C.L.O.U.T. as a valuable investment in my children's future and in my future in my community. This year, I will be making 4 payments, so it's more manageable for me, and I will invest $200 in C.L.O.U.T. Thank you.
Look, the tears of the oppressed, with no one to comfort them. On the side of their oppressors, there was power. Again, I saw vanity under the sun. The case of solitary individuals. For whom am I toiling, they asked. 2 are better than 1. because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up the other. But woe to the one who is alone and falls and does not have another to help. Again, if two lie together, they can keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though one might prevail against another, two will withstand one. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. We invest in C.L.O.U.T because it's a community that's focused on building up the kingdom of God. As the body of Christ, the church's mission is not to the church inside of our doors, but out into the world. Jesus tells us that where your treasure is, your heart will be also. Modern psychology confirms this. You will certainly feel more connected to an organization after investing your time, talent, and treasure in it. We invest not only to fund C.L.O.U.T, but to strengthen the ties that bind all of us together. If a threefold cord is not quickly broken, how much more difficult must it be to break a 1,000-fold cord made up of the citizens of Louisville, organized and united together? That is why my wife and I will be investing $400 in C.L.O.U.T.
My name is Louisville from Louisville Baptist Church. I would like to say that I had my granddaughter to write a page. I tried to write one, so I decided not to use none of this. I became involved in C.L.O.U.T about 20 years ago with Mr. Owen Roberts. At that time, our church lost our pastor. And then when Reverend Larry Sykes became a pastor of our church, he got involved in C.L.O.U.T. So I began to get involved in C.L.O.U.T. And I'm really enjoying it. I would like to tell you about some of the things, the reason why I'm involved in C.L.O.U.T. Bullying, I had a granddaughter that was being bullied. Her grades went down. But she's better now, so her grades are coming up and she was able to pass. I have property, I'm in the house and property. That's what I decided to work in, me and my grandchildren. I have two and some of the members of my church, about 5. I became involved in that because I live in the West End. I have property down there. I see all the houses deteriorate. I'll give you an example of one of my houses that's deteriorating. Next door to me, the family was a husband and wife. They were old. They lost their house, and their son took it over. By him being an alcoholic, the deterioration of the house went down. Someone bought it. They lost the house. Now the house is supposed to be historical, so they can't tear it down, but it's deteriorating. They stole the air conditioners out of it. They went in and took all the copper out of the house. And you ask me why I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned because one of my properties is right next door to this house that's boarded up. So the value of my property will go down. I became involved again because of the justice system. I have sons, grandsons, granddaughters that are still in prison. And maybe a son that may be going to prison because of the family situation. The son that is out now, he ain't been having problems with the job, although he's very skilled. But right now, being the box will help him out. I became involved again because of the deteriorations of the houses in the West End. I've seen guys, I've had to take them off of the vacant houses. They were doing dope. They were doing some of everything down there. This is how I became involved. I don't have a whole lot to give you, but I can tell you from my experience what I have experienced. Thank you.
This organization is how we build our power to transform our community according to our biblical values of justice and fairness for all God's people. To make sure that our biblical values always remain the highest priority of our organization, we we have to have financial ownership over our organization. Otherwise, it won't be our organization. If we depend upon corporate money to sustain ourselves, corporate values will guide us. If we depend upon government grants to sustain ourselves, politics will often guide us. If we're serious about making our biblical values just as powerful a force in society as corporate profits and political ideologies, we must have financial ownership over our organization. There's just no way around this fact. Now, we've made great strides towards solving many community problems. But to take one example, we don't really want a small program, pilot program of restorative practices in schools. We want restorative practices to be district-wide, so all children can benefit right now. We're solving the right problems, but we need more power to solve them on a more comprehensive and permanent scale. To do that, we need more staff. It's very unlikely that we'll hit our BHAG, as Mary mentioned, of 5,000 people at the Nehemiah Assembly in 2015 without at least one more organizer. But if some of you know, after receiving a grant from the Catholic Campaign for Human Development for the last 6 years, we're coming up on a mandatory 3-year waiting period before we can apply again. But really, there aren't enough grants out there to grow the way that we want to grow. We don't need just one more organizer. We need 3, 4, or 5 more. Don't you want to see 5,000 people at the Nehemiah Assembly in 2015? One day, don't you want to see 10,000 or 15,000 people at the Nehemiah Assembly? Think what we can accomplish with that. Now, I know everyone here tonight has a heart for justice, that deep within us, we all long for a more just society. The Bible tells us that where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So we ask each other, including everyone here tonight, to invest at least $200. Some will choose to write a check tonight for $200. Some will write 4 $50 checks over the next month. Some will write a $100 check and raise $100 more from friends and family. Raising $200 is not a requirement to be a Justice Ministry Network member. But this work is so important that we ask each other to invest $200 if at all possible. Because I know that investing in C.L.O.U.T. is the best possible investment I can make in the future of my community and my children, I'm investing $400 in the work of C.L.O.U.T. What do you invest in? $200. All right.
Well, we're running slightly behind time, so I need your permission for another 10 minutes. That's agreeable with everyone. All right? Okay. Now, as we go into our investment drive caucus, all the caucus leaders have been briefed on what to do. Everybody has one of these forms on the wall to fill out. It tells you on the form what to report back at the end of the caucus. So, after the caucus, after we report back, and we'll be back done, we'll have another 5 minutes or so to go. We ask everyone to stay until the end. Because we got food, we got too much food, we need somebody to take his food home. We got to clear out containers, bring our food, so stay